Hey everyone, Chris Gio here once again for Beyond the Veil. I want to talk to you in this video about the most dangerous idea to the establishment. That is hashtag become your own shaman. So in the last several years, as I've worked with the plants and medicines, I've realized that anytime I speak about my experiences, I'm always hit with three types of criticisms. The first one is the idea that demons can possess you during ayahuasca, and that you open yourself up to all this demonic possession, which has absolutely no merit. As a matter of fact, as I talked about in the last video, my encounters with ayahuasca demons, I talked about how you can actually see your demons within ayahuasca and you can combat them. The other type of criticism that I get is that one should never work with any of these plants without a trained shaman. And that's a fallacy, complete and total fallacy. Now, old paradigm, old way of thinking, maybe that's true. Maybe you did need to go to a shaman and you needed to have him administer whatever plant medicine or anything like that. But the thing is, our consciousness level has evolved to that next level. And as it evolves, we start to realize we don't need all these different systems. So going all the way back, we used to have kings and queens, and some countries still do, but in most countries, even kings and queens are kind of in the background compared to the parliament. And here in the United States, we have presidents and Congress, and we realize that we can't put somebody in power indefinitely because then it winds up like Rome and Caesar, who never steps down from the position, and it just ends horribly for everybody. So we're starting to evolve beyond the need for these type of systems, and hopefully soon we can evolve past the very need for government, but that's a whole nother video. But then you have the religious classes as well. And the religious classes back in biblical time was about the rabbi and the Pharisees, who were separate from everybody else. They wore this nice fancy garb, and they were, oh, look how holy they are, etc., etc. And the fact is that they take a shit just like everybody else. There is absolutely nothing special about them. Maybe they have a little bit more knowledge or a little bit more understanding, but aside from that, there is no disconnection between you and the divine anymore. But they've been trying to tell us that there have to be mediators between you and the divine over and over and over again. Religion in and of itself started to shed this off when you had like the Church of England introduce pastors and reverends as opposed to priests. And they realized that the priest class were very corrupt and it wasn't necessary. So we evolved our consciousness level a little bit further beyond that. Now we're seeing the numbers of religion decreasing steadily because people are coming to their own spirituality. And by coming to your own spirituality, you realize that you don't even need the church. You don't need any of these religions. You don't need any of these systems for your own spirituality and your own divinity. And if you look at the Gnostic writings, that's actually the message that this Jesus Christ character was actually talking about, that was systematically suppressed by the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE. But again, the topic of another video. So this priest class was not only in Western culture, but you also had a priest class in the Amazon and in indigenous cultures as well. And these were known as shaman. Now, the shaman were not quite as egotistical or egocentric as the priests. They didn't walk around like, oh, look how holy I am. Usually they pick the shamans by the fact that the kids were able to perceive something about reality that wasn't perceivable by everybody else. So schizophrenia, for example, Terence McKenna quoted this many times before, a schizophrenic in a native culture is considered to have special abilities. Here, we try to drug the hell out of the kids who say they see imaginary friends and entities that are outside of our frequency range and so on and so forth. So we systematically try to shut that light off. But we're waking up from that. And more people are not vaccinating their children. More and more people are not pumping them up with pills and medications. And so what happens is now we have all these bright and shining little lights running around all over the place. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I'm part of the Psychedelics and Philosophy Forum. I'm part of the Terrence McKenna Experience on Facebook. I'm part of Acid Math, a handful of other groups. And I interact with a lot of kids that are like 17, 18, 20, 25 years old. And they're just bright and shining little lights. I mean, it's incredible. And I have friends with kids who have grown up in a completely organic lifestyle, and they're like 3 years old and just like little balls of energy. So it's really phenomenal how things have shifted. And because of this shift, we no longer have to look for gurus and shaman and all of this stuff. Number one, looking for it in Western civilization and culture has led to a lot of charlatans and frauds. I mean, it seems like everybody who supposedly had special abilities, especially back in the 80s when they were really putting all these people on television, turned out to be frauds, like these spoon benders, and it was all just illusion. The biggest fraud of all was, I think it was Miss Cleo, and there was another psychic. I don't remember who she was off the top of my head. But all of these supposed psychics are becoming exposed for what they are. Now, I'm not saying that all shaman or psychics or healers are charlatans. I've met some very, very powerful clearers. My dear friend, Frank Castle, is a shaman himself, and he is really tapped in, and he's really aligned with the energies. That's somebody I would trust giving me ayahuasca. But if I go down to the Amazon and I don't know who I'm dealing with, I don't know what's in the brew, I don't know any of that, how am I going to get the best experience? How am I going to talk to the plants? I'm not. Instead, I'm going to be guided by a shaman. You don't know what the shaman's intentions are. They could be good intentions, but they could be bad intentions too. We've heard stories of women going down there and then getting in these sexual entanglements during the experiences. They come back, they say they were raped. Because as a shaman, you know you're not supposed to mix your sexual energy with somebody. But some do under these experiences. And I don't think that it's good. I think it's immoral, but it is what it is. So this is why I have been putting together a video series that urges people to be their own shaman. So the number one thing about become your own shaman is that you have to understand that the best teachers are the plants. There is no better teacher. And as a matter of fact, the less you can cloud your experience, the more you are going to learn strictly from the plants. I'll give you some examples. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. This is a little bit higher level stuff here, but the Emerald Tablets of Thoth was a book that I stayed away from energetically. I have no idea why. I received so many emails. Hey, Chris, you got to read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. You've got to read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And I stayed away from it until about January 2017. And finally, one day I picked it up and just decided to read it from front to back. But what was happening in the process is that a lot of the gnosis, which was inside of the Emerald Tablets, was revealed to me within the ayahuasca realm. So what happened when I actually picked up that book was I started confirming a lot of stuff that I had seen in my experiences as opposed to the other way around. Because had I read that book first, then I would think, well, it's probably that book that's influencing my experiences. Likewise, I don't say this very often, but I don't really listen to Terrence McKenna very much. I don't listen to anybody very much. Cherie is into Terrence McKenna, and I listen to some of the stuff he says every once in a while. His brother Dennis, good friend of ours, we've had him on the show so many times before. Great guy. But I listen, and they have their own different experiences. Everybody has their own experiences. And if I could be so bold as to say this, and I mean absolutely no disrespect to anybody that's come before us, I feel that what we're doing now with the psychedelics is taking it to next levels. So Terrence and all those people, they brought us to a certain level. Now we're taking that beyond all of that. So they created kind of a jump point for us, but we're taking it to whole new levels that I never thought we would take this consciousness shift to. But the main thing is that you have to become your own shaman. Hashtag become your own shaman. Hashtag become your own shaman. Because it's so important. Now, the third type of criticism that I always get when I talk about ayahuasca, especially in the context of become your own shaman, is the idea that psychedelics are used for mind control. Like, ooh, your mind's going to be controlled from this. And looking back in history, there could be a sliver of validity to this. If you look at something like Charles Manson, for example, you take a group of people, 5, 6 people, give them psychedelics for a period of several months, and then you can influence those people throughout the course of that 5 or 6 months. And experiments like this that the CIA supposedly did is what the government and government operatives are currently using to keep you away from psychedelics. So you'll be amazed how many times I hear, oh, it's all CIA programming, it's all CIA programming. And I can tell you from personal experience, at least my experience, I'm like, CIA programming, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. You're not the one taking the psychedelics. You don't know what I'm doing. And they always try to say, they always try to overlap like, what's his name? Timothy Leary's research and all this different research. And it's like, dude, I'm not an intellectual. I'm not somebody that sits there and reads books 24 hours a day. I got 2 fucking jobs. I'm an IT programmer and I'm a program director over at tfrlive.com. Plus, I do a radio show. Plus, I do these fucking YouTube videos. And at the end of the day, I don't have fucking time to read books. Sorry for cussing so much, but sometimes fuck is the only way to get the point across. I don't have time to read all these fucking books. Instead, what I do is I go within and I get this gnosis from within because I firmly believe that we all have the gnosis within us, all of us. And it's just a matter of unlocking it from within us and remembering who we are and where we came from. And especially if you go down the line of Dolores Cannon's work, where she was a hypnotherapist, awesome lady. She passed away a couple of years ago. She was a hypnotherapist and she regressed all of these people back to the time of birth, to past lives, to lives before that, to lives before that. And through the thousands of people that she regressed, she started to get a common theme that people who are on this plane, not all of them, but some, have come from a higher dimension, came back down here because the earth was in trouble. And we're here to teach, we're here to lead, we're here to shine the lights, and we're here to help the earth shift into a higher frequency range. When I heard that, I said, holy crap, this totally resonates with me. This is awesome, awesome, awesome information. And I get the feeling that everybody watching these videos are of the same cloth, that you've all come from a higher dimension back down here, which means that we're not really here to learn this time. We're here to shine the light. We've already been through all of this bullshit. We've already been through all of the trials and tribulations and everything that this third dimensional plane is for. But we made a conscious choice to come back down here. So what are we going to do? We elevated up here. We made a conscious choice to come back down here. Then we're going to go to a guru or to a shaman and say, give me ayahuasca. Hell no. We're going to pick up the tools because we already know how to use them because the gnosis is inside of us. And we're going to start utilizing these tools. All we need is just that first spark to ignite that flame within us. And when that flame is ignited, and I hope that these videos do this, then you take it upon yourself to go out there and have your experiences. Not experiences that are with a group that are led by some guru or some shaman or anything like that. Now, the message of hashtag become your own shaman has been heavily, heavily attacked. And these people came out of the woodworks. Like, they attack everybody in the psychedelics community. Dennis McKenna, Joe Rogan, literally everybody that's out there. But they came extra heavy after me because I'm one of the only people that stood up and said, hashtag become your own shaman. When I saw the way that they reacted to that, I said, this is it. This is the message. This is what we need to get out there. Because when you are hashtag become your own shaman, you take the power away from all of these other ideas and groups and people that want to control, and you take that power for yourself. So if you were to stay away from psychedelics because of all the fear bullshit, then you don't ascend. You don't wake up. You don't deprogram yourself. They're perfectly happy with that. That's where they want to keep you. If for some reason you do break into it, then they want you to do it in a controlled atmosphere where they can control your experiences so they can continue more programming. But they're deathly afraid of you hashtag becoming your own shaman. Now, imagine this. You're a person, you're broken, you have all of this shit that you're dealing with, and you come to the plants, and the plants start breaking you down. Your programming starts to deteriorate. Your program starts to break down. Your view on the religion, your view on this, your view on all the different divisive mechanisms out there. I mean, I see it on Facebook all the damn time. And it's North Korea is going to get us. The gays are going to turn your kids gay. We need to fear these people. We need to fear that people. It's fear, 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 fear. Fear, hate, anger, all of these emotions put you in a state of panic, kind of like a panic mode. And when you're in panic mode, then you're not really thinking. So I've seen it all in my journey. I started out with the 9/11 truth movement stuff, the Bush and bin Laden connections. I was listening to the radio every single day, waiting for that next false flag. I was waiting for war. I was waiting for things to blow up. I thought I was one step ahead of everybody else because I was listening to a particular radio show, and I'm sure that everybody knows which radio show it is. And if you haven't checked out the video that I have, Alex Jones DMT remix, check it out. But I was glued to the radio every single day thinking that the world is going to collapse and that we're doomed. But it never happened. I lived through the H1N1 bullshit. I lived through the Ebola bullshit. I lived through every single 9/11 for the past 16 years. And every 9/11, oh, there's going to be a false flag in New York. Oh, there's going to be an October surprise. And every once in a while, this whole idea of, oh, ISIS or Al-Qaeda or North Korea, they have 5 suitcase nukes in 5 different cities. Holy shit, everything's going to just go crazy. And it never happens because the system doesn't want to collapse. The system wants to continue to live, to make you live in a state to where you feel like it's going to collapse. So they can keep you in that panic mode. It's all about panic mode, panic mode, panic mode. But if you take these tools and hashtag become your own shaman, then you can see past all of this bullshit and you start operating in a place of balance. It's not about love. It's not about hate. It's about balance. You have to be hardened, but at the same time, you have to love. So if you can maintain that balance of the warrior and also the mother love spirit, the compassion, the empathy, they can't fuck with us when we're in that frequency. So that's why they see when people are trying to elevate you into a higher frequency. That's when shit really goes down. And they're like, hey, stop them. Don't let them do that. Stop them. They're saying things that we don't like. But if you're saying 9/11 was an inside job over and over and over again, and that's all that's in your consciousness, they sit back and they're like, yeah, it was an inside job. And you better be ready for that next false flag attack because it could be right around the corner. So we want you to continue to operate like that. And then the whole Trump thing, like everybody lost their fucking minds. Like we were anti-government. And then Trump came in office and now we're pro-government. And you have people like Alex Jones saying, you need to go to war for Trump. There's going to be civil war. It's like, dude, we're supposed to be anti-government because government is a system of control. Religion is a system of control. But everybody's on their own path. Everybody has their own destination. But the most important thing is to not let anybody lead you. And instead, hashtag become your own shaman. So on that note, I'm going to get into more things in future videos, maybe ego dissolution, maybe clearing and protection. I do want to do a video about how to clear your space, how to protect your space. If you're dealing with the negative energy, how to deal with that, get rid of that, etc., etc. I touched upon it briefly in the last video, but I didn't actually explain how to do the protection, how to use the sage, frankincense, etc., etc. And remember, everything I say on this broadcast, everything I say on these YouTube videos is my experience. Your experience may differ, and it's okay. You know why? Because we're all infinite consciousness. We've all come down from source, and we're fractals of this one entity that is called source, and we've broken ourselves down into all these little individual pieces called souls, but we're all the same. It's like a drop in the ocean. There is the ocean, and then there are the drops within the ocean that make up the ocean. The drops are part of the ocean. The ocean is the drops. It's very simple. So we're all united together. But there have been elements that want to keep us divided. I'm not falling for the bullshit division tactics anymore. Simple as that. Love ya. See you next time as we step even further beyond the veil.